really excited to be joined by Joe Lamond, President and CEO. This is the second time he's joined me for a month, in a month, I should say. He's certainly glutton for punishment, but okay. Anyway, I have him ready to talk about. I'm not going to I can't just call it Summer NAMM because I'm calling it Summer NAMM Week. I don't know what your official name is, but I've penned that one, so sorry, you can't use it. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, so first, I mean, you just went there, so we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's first talk about the logistics of everything that's going to go on, right? First of all, what are the events that are going to happen? I know we have NASMD, RPMDA, AIM, and Summer NAMM. So can you just give some information about how that whole week is going to go and give us the details?
I think you just laid it out, Brian. My work here is done. I'm good. No. I mean, this has been a long, eventful period for our industry. And it has been a long time since we've seen each other. So I think to your point that a lot of the groups within the industry have not been able to meet because of the pandemic, and they're using the platform of Summer NAMM as the opportunity to get back in the water, right? I think that's what many of these really important industry groups. Again, our industry is so diverse. We all know that, and in its diversity, there are groups that meet to really advance their segments, which is awesome. Whether it's school band or piano and organ, the touring industry, there's groups that meet, and this is great to have them all kind of convene in and around Summer NAMM because it's going to make a very effective market week for everybody, but it's also going to be a powerful, I think, galvanizing of many people. So yeah, you're right. The school music dealers are going to meet. RPM Day is going to have kind of a mini conference because they had to do virtual the last 2 years. AIM, Event Safety Alliance, Showmakers, which a lot of the touring and event technology personnel. Worship Magazine is hosting an event for those folks that are involved in that end of the business. And of course, NAMM members, right? I mean, this is a traditional independent community music store event. It's different than Winter NAMM, and we all know that. But I think by having all of that come together at once, there's kind of a gravitational pull now that's going to help make a lot of, make it easier to make the decision to go. And I look at there's kind of like three real buckets of possible attendees for Summer NAMM, and that may not be different than any year, really, but in this year in particular because of the coming off of the pandemic. But there's one group of NAMM members who are not going to miss Summer NAMM no matter what, right? They will crawl through busted glass. I took this picture out my window this week at the hotel. That's the convention center from above. They're coming. They are eager. They are market makers. They are just, the epitome of the entrepreneurial spirit. You get knocked down 7 times, you get back up 8 times. There are samurai entrepreneurs. There's another group that's just never going to come to Summer NAMM. They never did before. Winter NAMM was maybe everything they needed. And then this year in particular, there's some who aren't just feeling safe yet. I totally respect that. There's just some that will not feel safe traveling for some time. Right. They're never going to come. So I set them aside. What we're really focused on is this middle group, right? They have interest in going. They have desire to go. They have a good return on investment if they go, but they're just not sure. And so we're doing everything we can to say, you know what, you should tip this way and join those who are the samurai entrepreneurs, and you should go. And here's why. These using the platform for all these other groups. The manufacturers that are going to be exhibiting there are some of our best, some of our very best. And the NAMM University stuff will help them, in their professional lives. And of course, what I think in many of us are feeling, and I felt it when I went to Nashville, is this pent-up desire to re-engage with the world, to step out into the world. And Nashville, is probably one of the better places to do that if you're, in our musical family because of the way Nashville is set up. So that's really it. This is it's going to be a smaller gathering for sure. It's going to look different. There's no question. But it's possibly maybe one of the more important gatherings of our industry. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. I feel it's an obligation to present and to produce this. I feel it's a responsibility to produce this event and create this platform, but I also feel the weight of making sure we get it right. and that we can provide a safe and secure environment for the industry to meet. So yeah, it's coming together. We're basically 8 weeks out right now, which in any normal time would be a lot of things would be certain. There's
Right.
so many uncertainties still right now. Um, so, I mean, so I'll talk about my trip if you want. I just got back.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
got back last night. Um,
Yeah, let's get into what your give us what your impressions were when you went
yeah,
there. Your first impressions, what and if you- I we don't I don't think the retailers need to know specifically who you met with from the city of
yeah,
Nashville, but I mean what they told you about the safety, what they're
yeah,
planning for people to make sure it is a you know not only a fun but a safe environment for people
yeah.
to.
Well, I mean, this is the old road manager in me, right? I mean, it is. I used to have this saying that it is impossible to over advance a gig. In other words, really making sure every detail is covered. If you're on tour, you got to make sure every detail of every stop along the tour is organized. So I felt that about this. So I wanted to go see it with my own eyes. I flew there on Tuesday night and I came back this Thursday night. Um, but what I saw was a community that is thriving in spite of a pandemic. I saw a city that has found the common ground between taking care of everybody, but also recognizing that life is absolutely thriving and to not be, hidden under a bucket kind of thing. And that's what I saw. And I can tell you that from arrival at the airport to the ride into the hotel, to the hotel, to the convention center itself, everyone was wearing masks. It's a pain. I hate it. I hate You want to sit on a Southwest flight, middle seat for 4.5 hours? That bad enough? Wear a mask.
For 4.5 hours,
Anyway,
right?
I mean, yeah. So you know what? You just pull them up and say, okay, here's what life is like right now. But
Right.
I felt really good about, the respect that everyone was exhibiting. Walking around downtown, no masks. And I think that's part of the outside, thing that they're doing. Nashville, the city, I met with all of the people we needed to meet there. On the 14th of May, they're dropping all requirements. And they are doing what a lot of the southern states are, which is
Mhm.
just opening it up completely, leaving it up to individuals, either, companies, businesses, restaurants, hotels to decide. But at that point, there'll be no restrictions from the government or from their county health. So that's a big step. They've got some big events planned prior to our arrival, right? I mean, there's events in the convention center all the way through our arrival.
Oh,
They told me that they're still now planning their 4th of July fireworks, which I guess in downtown Nashville is quite a big deal with 150,000 attendees.
wow.
So just a week before we arrive, they will have already had some experience with large events and again, he'll work through any of the protocols. So for the average NAMM member, if your store has been open already, or if you have already been out, this is going to be nothing. You've already seen it. If you're some of the other NAMM members who maybe have been work at home and or other, you'll find getting out into the world is actually, it felt really good. I felt human again. I felt like I belong. There's this robust community of humans that are out there, especially in Nashville and all the music scene. I felt a part of it again, and I can tell you that maybe some of the isolation of the last year kind of just drifted away quickly, and the old habits came right back. And I think they will for many of our members. The idea, old habits sounds, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but the good parts came right back. I mean, I went to this event at Gibson on Wednesday night, and there were many dealers there and many of their staff. We shook hands. We shook hands, right? We just did, and I was fine with it, and it was just felt normal and human again, right? I mean, it was such an interesting human, behavioral thing. We went back to tradition, and I think we're going to do a lot of that, and thankfully so. Are we careful? Yes. Is everyone going to be, maybe a little more sensitive? If you're vaccinated, you'll feel different maybe than if you're not. But it's just so interesting how quickly it went back to our brothers and sisters in the industry. So anyway, that's what I saw. I can tell you firsthand. Sometimes you just got to make sure that before you encourage others, you have to walk the walk. And I know so many of our members do that. Our members would never ask their team or their staffers to do something that they wouldn't do. And that's what I always respect about our leaders of our NAMM member businesses. And so that's why I went. It's there. It's the city's back. And by the way, I want to move to Nashville. I don't think I could afford a house there now, but I want to move to Nashville. There's so many new office towers of all the investment people leaving New York. Sorry, they're leaving your state and moving down to Nashville. Amazon has, 2 new towers there. And I don't know, it's just as a city, they've done a lot of things right. You got to respect that. So, but I think for our little world, they're ready for our little gathering, right? This isn't Anaheim. This is our little gathering, and it's going to be the people we know. And we're going to be, I think, surprised. I think everyone who goes, here's my prediction. I'll bet you everyone who goes is going to be so surprised at how much they missed everybody and how much they missed this. I think those that don't go are going to regret it. They're going to be sitting home that week going, God, I should have gone. And we're trying to predict where we'll be by July, right? So much of this is where are we going to be by then? And no one really knows. We hope the trajectory is very positive. The economics are certainly very positive. But we are taking chances. There's risk involved in everything. Of course. I was talking to some of the guys at Gibson as we were just hanging out that Wednesday night. We're talking about the relative idea of risk, right? And how we've all tried to calibrate risk during the pandemic. And then one guy goes, "Oh, I ride Harley Davidsons." And I go, "I ride too." It's like, we already know all about risk. We ride motorcycles, dumbest thing you could ever do. So it's, that's my prediction. I think we're going to be surprised at how much, when you go, how much you realize you've missed everybody. And I think those that don't go are going to, I wish they did. So
I know I sure missed it. I've missed it already. So,
yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on beyond the safety. There are probably some people that are going to watch and say, okay, I mean, there are probably people who've decided already, I'm not going to go no matter what. So, and they have their reasons, and that should, and that is very respectable. But let's talk about the people who are either planning to go or on the fence.
Yeah.
Let's move beyond the safety part, and let's go to the old school. I'm trying to do the quotes here. Maybe it didn't work on the screen. The old school.
You mean business? You mean just real business?
The business question. Well, why should they go? What are they going to see? Give us some details about Summer NAMM and what they're going to get there once they get in there. When they're not thinking, because when they're on this floor, they're probably not going to be thinking, I'm not safe right now.
No.
They're probably going to think, hopefully I am, and let's get the business. I want to move my retail shop or shops.
Brian. We are in a once in a lifetime moment in our industry. You and I will never experience this again. Those that went through the Beatlemania, 64, 65, boom, we weren't around then. This is our version of it. For most, not all, but for many of our members, there's business to be had. We got to solve some of the key issues. The school music dealers are going to be laser focused on getting kids back to school this fall and into music programs. And by the way, without that, everyone else downstream should be very worried. School music dealers are going to be focused on how to get kids back into music programs this fall safely and how to really work on some of those supply chain issues that they're dealing with. Okay, NAMM member retailers in general, we have supply issues, right? How many times have you heard manufacturers saying, I'm back ordered through, name the month or name the year?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That sounds so good, doesn't it? It's a terrible problem to have. We're in business to move things into the marketplace. If you're unable to do that, you're not optimizing the conditions. So what happens there? You've got other NAMM members who are shipping, who are able to fill that void. There's the next major company who's now in a little tiny booth right now, who's out there looking for this opportunity. You're going to see a lot of that Summer NAMM. You're going to see others who are saying, I can help supply and fill that supply chain with new instruments that you need in your store. Mm-hmm. So I would almost argue that in some cases, this might be a reverse of what we've seen in the last couple of years, where there's just a lot of supply chasing maybe less demand. Well, right now there's more demand than there is supply. We won't We have not seen that in our lifetime, probably. And we may never see it again. And so that's business that has to get done. That's why the samurai entrepreneur that's going to be at Summer NAMM is going to be laser focused on solving some of those challenges, but also seizing those opportunities. It's business. There are people who want to make music. There are people who want to buy musical instruments. There are school districts who are getting an unbelievable amount of support from the government that will be shoveled into these schools that they can use for music programs. That's the opportunity. We've got to really connect the two, the supply with the demand. So I think that's going to be one of the number one challenges of our meeting in Summer NAMM, is to connect those two and work through those supply chain issues and make sure we can meet the demand that's in the marketplace right now. And I'll get to my second challenge in a second, but any questions on that one?
Well, I mean, I would just say, is this going to be one of your main focuses of the education sessions? Number one, if not, what would be a couple main themes? And
Yeah.
the second part of that would be, is if they can't make the retailers can't make it, will they be able to see a video, a virtual component of that?
Yeah. Yes. So those challenges will be worked through in NAMU. We've got Event Safety Alliance is going to be speaking with the NASMD members and also doing sessions about safely returning to not only schools, but safely returning to concerts and festivals that so many of our members are involved in. But yes, those issues will be directly, that'll be the target. That's the beauty of NAMU. Every year, every show, basically NAMU starts over again. Zach takes a white piece of paper and says, what are people talking about right now? What are they challenges? What are the challenges right now? And then he just, can really fill in great, resources to solve them. Some of it will be online, not all of it, but some of it. So for sure. I mean, we want to make sure that this information gets out as broadly as possible to do the most amount of good. So yes, they'll definitely, and NAMU online is so robust now. There's some great programming right now. Mary Lewiston and the foundation have created some great webinars on coming back to school safely and all the research that's been done on that. So, I mean, right now, a NAMM member can get online, all free, by the way, and just get a tremendous amount of resource, right, that'll help them in their stores today. So, so my second point, my mantra has been the industry wide, and there's market forces, and every segment has their own way to look at it. And within each segment are great competitors, trying to always improve. But the general rule, we've all had one goal, which is, and I sum it up with 4 letters, MSFQ, right?
Right.
What's our job? MSFQ. And people can look at me like, what the hell is he talking about? It's really simple. As an entire industry, we have one job: get more to start playing and get fewer to quit playing. That's it. We get that right. Everything else starts to take care of itself. More to start playing, fewer to quit playing. So that's, and people are doing a great job with that. I mean, the NAMM Foundation has dozens of programs that we fund. If someone doesn't quite know how they can engage and create their own programs to get more started or fewer to quit, just look at the NAMU, grantee list. They're all there and you can copy all of them. But we were generally in the more to start. That's been I would say, as an industry, really focused. That's school music. 52 million kids go to U.S. public schools each fall, making sure that they had a robust program. I think we've trained almost 2,000 regular band teachers to be guitar teachers, regular school music instructors to teach guitar in the classroom, to teach group guitar lessons. And I would say some of the boom in guitar is, for 20 years, we've been, I think there's 2.5 million kids that have gone through a Gamma program or Guitars in the Classroom program that have now learned literacy on a guitar, 3, 4, 5 chords, just enough in a group guitar class. I think a lot of them during the pandemic, and now they're in their 20s and 30s, are saying, I'm going to get a guitar. Has that shaped the guitar futures right now? Absolutely. So that's really important, getting more and more started, and we're going to stay on that like a dog with a bone. What we find ourselves right now in is the second half, in many ways, fewer to quit, right? The pandemic caused a lot of people to go buy bread makers, RVs, and guitars. And probably a bunch of other things that that you may or may not ever use again.
Some other crazy things. I mean, if you've been seeing the, I don't want to get off the point, but if you've been seeing the, not only I brought up the auction to you the last time, but these there's so many things. It's like Bitcoin, and then it's even beyond that. I mean, if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
saw these things called non-fungible tokens,
yeah.
which
NFTs,
with
absolutely.
NFTs, which I
Yeah,
can't believe it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't comprehend it, but you get like a online video, rights to
yeah.
some like athletes play
Some
or
of our
something, and you're
members are.
paying $30,000 for the right. I don't really understand the market, but
Yep.
I do think if people are paying that much for it, then something's
Oh,
going on here. So
yeah. That'll be a topic for a different interview. I'll come back for a
yeah,
third.
it's not
But
for the
yeah,
music industry, but
well, it
hey,
is a
maybe. But I'm bringing it up. It could be in the future for
yeah,
artists, though.
yeah.
Artists might sell the
Artists
rights to their a performance or a piece of their performance
artists
as
are
an
totally doing it.
online.
Artists artists are combining performances with product, maybe a new song or new album that's coming out that you get an exclusive number to. Yeah, artists are definitely exploiting this, and there's probably great opportunity as long as this lasts in our industry too. And I know many NAM members are looking at it. But my point is
Yeah,
that
yeah, exactly.
with so many instruments pushed into the marketplace right now, we have to be very focused on getting the fewer to quit part, and that
Right.
is programs, activities, getting more online learning and training for these new players to become permanent players and move up the ladder of playing, maybe to a nicer instrument or a second instrument, or performing in groups. Where do you become a guitar player? After you learn twist and shout, or when you've actually sat around a campfire and played twist and shout? So we're trying to really focus on, with our grants and our app opportunities, and many members are too, on the making sure that these new music makers don't just put these things in a closet, or they end up on the secondary market in a year or two. Although the amount of RVs that people bought last year during the pandemic, I want to buy an RV in about a year and a half from now, when all these people realize
Yeah,
that was I don't like RVs, but
that
they
was a
bought them, and
bad
now
purchase.
they want to
Oh,
sell them. So
they'll
that's
get a
what I'll
good price
buy.
now.
Yeah, that's what I'll buy an RV. But
But
I mean,
seriously,
more.
are you concerned though about that people were look, the more to start is tremendous what we've had in the last year. But are you concerned about that some of these people did it out of boredom, sheer boredom, and that it's going to be hard to get them, to avoid getting them to quit? I mean that's the challenge, I think. Right?
Am I worried about more to start, fewer to quit? Look, see this furrowed brow? It is like etched. See this gray hair? It's all I worry about, getting
Oh,
more to start
okay.
and fewer to quit. It's our job. It's our number one as an industry's focus. But yeah, so this is a unique time to really be focused on the fewer to quit part. It's a little more unique because generally a lot of effort went into more to start. So as an industry, we need to work together. We need to make sure that we have paths for these new players to continue. And I think we have more opportunity than ever, but we need to work together to do it. And I think that's one of the things that Summer NAMM will be a very important topic between retailer and vendor and association and partners like Gamma and Guitars in the Classroom. Really important conversations about how do we not let this opportunity slip away from us.
Right.
Because if we do, there's going to be a generation that looks back on this time and says, man, you guys blew it. You had all these new players and you didn't find a path for them to continue playing. What a missed opportunity. Who wants that? No, we want to make sure we don't miss this opportunity. You could argue, you know, 68, 69, 70. If my research is right and looking at the NAMM archives, there was a slowdown in the industry because this boom, naturally we didn't harvest and create longer term players, and some of them aged out. We don't want to make that. We don't want to let that happen again. We want to make sure that every new player, it becomes a permanent player and part of our world. So that's I think, a big topic for conversation now. It will be in Summer NAMM, and it will be continuing into the fall, into the winter.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Thanks. It should be, a lot we'll need. I just want to get, we have, I think, just a few minutes left, but I want to ask you though about the other aspects of Summer NAMM, what people are going to see. I know we're going to go into a convention center. We're going to see the education sessions. We're going to see the booths. I think that's pretty clear. Something that
Yeah.
you couldn't do. Well, the booths part, it was definitely different virtual experience. But what are the I don't know, the all the other activity is going to be like? I guess it's kind of, I'm kind of, trying to put it in a way that it's easier to understand. But um, I guess we're talking about ambiance, performances,
Yeah.
events. What else you're doing? You are doing it still during a pandemic, although we've seen, very good progress. So how is that going to come about? And will it be different for people, and where
Yeah.
are you going to have performances? Have you, talked to people about performing outside? Are you doing, what are you, some other events that other companies might have? There's some in the area might do some things,
Yeah.
but
No, that's,
what's it going to look like at night for people, and when they're not at the show floor?
yeah. I think the great question, Brian. I mean, there will be specific industry focused events each night. I mean, I was one of the things we worked on this week with Gibson was having a NAMM event Wednesday night at the new Gibson Garage. That's going to be a really
Yeah.
fun event, open Wednesday night. I know NASMD is working on some tours of their vendors that are in Nashville during the day.
Oh,
So vendor tours to go visit the factory at KHS or something. Or there will be dinners. I think there'll be small group meetings and dinners that are just the coming together that, if you think about NAMM shows, so much of the camaraderie comes from just getting a group of 10, member companies together and going to dinner. There's a group of board alumni, NAMM board alumni, that get together and have dinner. They've been doing it for years. So those kind of impromptu gatherings. So you've got industry stuff, you've got the groups meeting that are going to have their dinners and events. You've got the touring of the local factories, and we've got the Wednesday night, obviously top 100. But I didn't want to forget just Nashville. I literally walked down Broadway on Tuesday and Wednesday night, and every single building had a live band.
wow.
Every single building had a live band. That just that row of all the clubs and honky tonks and some really nice places too they're really obviously Nashville's stepping it up, obviously because of their new influx of new residents, but live music. And I can't tell you how much I missed seeing live music. I mean, looking in every place and seeing a live drummer. It was like, so I think on top of those things I've just mentioned, you've got Nashville. To be able to just get out and enjoy the city. And I think there's a lot of people who are just ready to do some of that with their teams. If it's a store, the staff they're bringing, just to get out and have a, kind of a company dinner, or, the kind of gathering that people haven't been able to do because of the pandemic. So I think between industry gatherings, impromptu dinners, and Nashville itself, even if you come for a couple of days, I think you're going to find that it was worthwhile on the business side. It was worthwhile on the camaraderie side, and probably really worthwhile on the psychological side of stepping out into the world and saying, okay, we're back. We're back.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. It all sounds wonderful. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually getting giddy and excited that we're going to have an industry event. I mean,
Yeah.
the negative is I have to wear pants, but, other than that, no.
You'll
I'm
have
just,
to wear pants and a mask. And and look, I don't know what the requirements will be by then, by July. Masks may be gone by then. Pants will still be required, I'm pretty sure.
pants will be.
Um,
I don't think we're
but,
getting rid of that.
but we will do what is the best practice at the time. And there's some people who say, I don't want to wear masks and it infringes on my rights. And I get all that. Sorry, be respectful. We're going to take care of our brothers and sisters. And what if it takes wearing masks to take care of each other? I hate it. But if that's what it takes to be, a good, respectful, participant, I'm going to do it. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. I mean, our values are on a wall right there. Next to our vision and mission objective, I got this big thing on our wall that have our value statement. And the first thing on our value statement is do the right thing.
Yeah.
And if that means taking care of your brothers and sisters by wearing a mask, all right, suck it up, buttercup. That's what it takes, and it won't be forever. But if that's what it takes, I'm going to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe Lamond, President and CEO of NAMM. Summer NAMM week is going to be July 12th through 16th. So, and that's going to start out with NASMD, and it's going to go to AIM and RPMDA on July 14th, right?
Event Safety Alliance,
Event
Portrait
Safety
Magazine,
Alliance.
Gibson.
And then we have Summer NAMM, which is going to be the 15th and 16th. And you also said the top 100 is going to be on the
Thursday night, top 100.
Thursday night. Okay, so
Thursday
that's
night.
going to be the 15th. So we have a Gibson event on July 14th, the top 100 event on July 15th. So there's going to be a lot of things for people to do, other than going to the convention center, of course, which is fun. And you get to see everyone that you haven't seen in probably a year and a half for most people. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. It's exciting. I just want to say it's exciting that we could even talk about having a live show, in-person show.
Yeah.
That to me is just fantastic. I'm getting emails about concerts that are going to be live later in the year already to buy tickets for them. So
Yeah.
that's exciting. I mean, Broadway is going to open in September. That's exciting. So all these things are great to hear. And man, I know a year ago was just so tough, and now I'm just so excited.
The psychology of this is so crazy when you think about what we've just all been through. I mean, there's probably PTSD, and again, with all due respect, there are friends we've lost friends, we've lost dear industry members. This is looking back, will this have been a tremendously difficult and challenging time for all of us, and one that none of us have been through before, and one we never want to go through again. But coming out of this, it's funny how the psychology is, well, I want this and I want that and I want that. It's that old story of the guy driving around the city trying to find a parking spot. God, please let me find a parking spot. I'll do anything. God, let me find a parking spot. And a year ago would be like, oh, please, God, let me just be able to go out again, go out and and so now we have all that. It's like the guy who's driving around. God, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll improve this, and all of a sudden God goes, all of a sudden the light shines and a spot opens up, and the guy goes, forget it, God, I found one. And so now our expectations are so much more. It's just humans are really interesting creatures.
Human nature.
We expect everything now to be happening and back the way it is, and it's not that way yet. We're going to still have to go through some. Please, God, can I find a parking spot? It's not quite there yet. So, but we will be ready, and it'll be a wonderful gathering.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I want to thank Joe Lamond for taking all this time with us today, and looking forward to the Summer NAMM events.
Yep. Thanks, Brian.